Welcome back, everybody, to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Today we will go over the UFC Fight Night for Dawson versus Green, October 7th, 2023. That's this Saturday. So let's start. We will be doing the fights. We'll go. You know what? I usually go. Well, we'll go backwards, I guess. There's probably more to talk about, but yeah, we'll start off with the prelims. And work our way to the main event. So let's start. There was a card change. It was Montana De La Rosa versus Stephanie Egger, and that got switched to Montana De La Rosa 2, JJ Aldrich. Montana De La Rosa, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 12 wins, 8 losses, 28 years old. JJ Aldrich, 5'5", 67-inch reach, 11 wins, 6 losses, 31 years old. You know, I think that it actually made it easier for me to pick Montana De La Rosa. I had picked Montana De La Rosa when she was against Stephanie Egger. I thought it was going to be a close fight. And when JJ Aldrich got thrown in there, I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to pick out Montana De La Rosa. Montana De La Rosa is a very strong wrestler. She's young. She's been working on her striking. She's getting better. She's tough. She's durable. She's mean. And she doesn't quit. And she keeps going and going and going. And there's no quit in this girl. And if she's fought a high level of competition. And she hasn't necessarily won. But she's always made a good account of herself. And never given up. And she's one of those mid-range fighters, and I think she's pretty good. She's good size for this weight class. As opposed to JJ Aldrich, I find she's kind of in between, where she's too big for the 115ers, and she seems a little small for the 125ers. She's well-rounded, good at everything, not stellar at anything. I think there's a lot of, when I got Montana De La Rosa originally, she was the underdog against JJ Aldrich, and now she's flipped over to the favorite. I think there was a lot of recency bias with JJ Aldrich's last fight against Leon Nang or something like that. She's not a really good fighter, but she looked really good, and it's kind of recency bias, I think. But I think the odds are where they should be. I think De La Rosa is the better fighter. I think she's going to win this. I think JJ Aldrich taking this on short notice is also going to be a hindrance for her. I don't think she can beat De La Rosa anyway. So, yeah, decent degree of confidence that Montana De La Rosa will be the victor in this matchup. I think she's going to be able to take it to the ground, and she's a grinder. She's going to be very heavy on top, which is what she's normally like for everybody else. Yeah, JJ Aldrich is going to have a hard time with her. Nevertheless, moving on. Next fight, Nate Maness versus Mateus Mendonca. Nate Maness, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 14 wins, 3 losses, 32 years old. Mateus Mendonca, 5'6", 71.5-inch reach, 10 wins, 1 loss, 24 years old. This was a tough one. Until about just an hour ago, I was actually picking Nate Maness. And having gone over the fight again and rethinking it, this fight's at 125. Nate Maness normally fights at 135. And then last time he fought at 125, he fought Tagir, and Tagir took him to the ground and he submitted him. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Tagir's a fantastic wrestler. He's top 10, top 12. So Nate Maness went in there. He's keeping himself safe on the back. Tried to get up and got his neck caught up. It was hard to tell how Nate Maness looked at 125, but during the weigh-ins that fight, he looked really drained. He looked really skinny. He's just so tall for 125, and he's the tallest person in that division right now. And I don't know if the answer for him is to keep going down in weight. And I know he's got some advantages with height and reach, but I don't know if that's going to carry through with everything else. how well he could take a punch and his stamina. And we never really got to see anything with Tagir because he submitted him in the first round. Matias Mendonca, at first, he took a short notice fight against Javid Basharat. And at first I thought, okay, this guy's a one rounder, goes out like the shoot the box guys, puts it on someone, attacks, throws crazy kicks, throws crazy punches, tries to take you to the ground, tries to get these submissions. And it was kind of like that in a way, but looking at the fight again, I realized that, Mendonca actually carried through even into the second, and he kind of really faded into the third. But being such a short notice fight and fighting Javid Basharat and trying to go all out through 3 rounds, it was kind of tough. And in that fight, he even took Basharat down, I think, a couple times, and Basharat did get back up. But just to do that against Basharat, who's got really good takedown defense, I don't know. It just looked like Mendonca looked like he had a lot of potential, and going up against such a highly ranked person with a lot of talent, I kind of given him a little bit more of a break on my first assessment. And looking at Nate Menez's other fights and how close they were and how many times he kind of almost lost but won, I don't know if I can really trust Nate Menez. I mean, I wanted to take the plus 220 underdog. It was a real low confidence bet. I was going to go with Nate Menez, but the more I look at it, the more this is my least confident pick. But I'm going to go with Mendonca. I think he's going to come in. He's going to have a better training camp. He's going to be from 135, where he was fighting Basharat, to 125. I think it's going to be an easier weight cut for him. He's 5'6". This is probably where he should be. Nate Menez, this is probably where he shouldn't be. It doesn't look like the weight's really looking good on him at 125. Having said that, I mean, I was having a hard time believe how high he was ranked in the flyweight division. And this could be a good intro for Mendonca to come up and take his ranking and be a highly touted prospect that he has been up till now. So yeah, Mendonca is going to be the pick. Low degree of confidence. I like Mendes on the surface, but digging into it a little further, I don't know if he can pull this off. But you never know. He has done it before, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. He got a young 24-year-old Mendonca. I think he's going to be improved from last time we saw him, right? So he's at that age where he's just going to continue to get better. And he's tough and he's durable, and you know what? And Menez, I don't know how durable he's going to be at 125. We shall see. Nevertheless, Mendonca is going to be the pick. Moving on to Vanessa Demopoulos versus Kanata Murata. Vanessa Demopoulos, 5'2", 59.5-inch reach, 9 wins, 5 losses, 34 years old. Kanata Murata, 5'1", 62-inch reach, 12 wins, 2 losses, 30 years old. We haven't seen Kanata Murata in probably 2.5 years. From what I've seen from her, she is a very short, stout, powerful wrestler, and she can take anybody to the ground. And it's only the top tier women that she has not been able to beat. She's very one-dimensional, but what she does do, she does really well. When she gets a hold of you, she takes you to the ground. She's got these wild swinging punches. She's got some power behind them. She's not a real good technical striker, but she does have some power. Vanessa Demopoulos, I mean, she's low level. She's tough. She's durable. She's a grinder. She's kind of good at everywhere, but not really fantastic at anything. Yeah, she's got a 1 arm bar, and she can take a punch. But it almost seems like they've set this up for Murata to win. I mean, they've literally had to find the shortest person in the roster to match up against her, because Murata's now the shortest person on the roster at 5'1". So, and then they've got Demopoulos at 5'2". So they kind of search for the one person, I think, that's shorter, that might not be physically more imposing, where I think that Murata can take out. Because, I mean, realistically, Murata is a really good wrestler. I think she has been caught in some arm bars. One time she had her arm dislocated. I think that was the last fight before she kind of, went into recovery and whatever she was doing for 2.5 years. Um, but Demopoulos, has had one of those. I I can't see her winning. I don't think the UFC sees Demopoulos winning. Demopoulos, 34 years old, not some kind of huge draw. Murata is 30 years old. I mean, whenever they have an Asian card, I mean, you got Murata on the card. This is probably a good business move. So Murata's is a heavy favorite, but she is fairly confident that she's going to be able to do this, providing it's the same Murata or a better version of Murata coming into this fight. I mean, you never know. After 2.5 years, it could be the worst version, but I don't think so. I think she's young enough where she could still make improvements, and she was a pretty good wrestler. I remember her, I think she won a close decision against Ducote. Yeah, the things are pointing that Murata should take this, apart from something unusual happening. Moving on. Aeroquilin. How do you say his name? Aeroquilin, if we say it fast enough. Aeroquilin versus Johnny Munoz. Aeroquilin, 5'7", 69-inch reach, 24 wins, 10 losses, 30 years old. Johnny Munoz, 5'9", 71-inch reach, 12 wins, 3 losses, 30 years old. Same age. Aeroquilin's going to have a little bit of height disadvantage. I usually like him in the fights where he has a bit of a size advantage. Johnny Munoz will be the taller, lankier fighter in this. He is live for the victory, definitely. He's good on the ground, so got some good submissions, and he's got some fairly decent striking, not fantastic. But the more I looked into it, though, I mean, it looks like Aeroquilin's going to come out here, going to take the center. He's got really powerful punches. He's got pretty good takedown defense. He has been taken down before. A lot of his takedown defense is simply, if you come in close enough, he's going to hit you with power shots and make sure, or knees, and where you don't want to be coming in close to him. This is a pick'em kind of fight. It's -110 on both of them. I think Munoz is a live dog, but I just don't have a lot of confidence in Munoz. I mean, he did fight Lacerda last time, and I think, he looked like he was beat up. He's just kind of a jiu-jitsu nerd. He kind of always went on his back and tried to pull guard. In this case, I don't think Aeroquilin's going to be following him down there. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. I think Munoz is going to have a hard time taking Aeroquilin down. I think Aeroquilin has got fairly powerful strikes that he's going to be able to really hurt Munoz. Yeah, I mean, the odds say -110. I just have much more confidence that Aeroquilin's going to be able to beat this guy. Even though the one red flag would be 6 months ago, Aeroquilin was knocked out cold, where he didn't even know where he was. And when he got up, he was about to he thought they were restarting the fight. And he fought against Zahabi. And I bet against Aeroquilin in that fight. I thought he was going to lose it. I didn't really expect Zahabi to knock him out the way he did. I think it's one of those, fantastic shots. Zahabi's not necessarily a power puncher. He's got power, but not that kind of knockout power. But he hit him with the perfect punch. Aeroquilin was just out and didn't even know where he was at that point. Nevertheless, this is not that fight. Aeroquilin will just have to stuff takedowns from Johnny Munoz and win the decision. I think that he's going to win it. I've got a mid-range confidence in this one. Moving on. Chris Gutierrez versus Montel Jackson. Well, that was a fight that I had broken down, but it got canceled. I think Chris Gutierrez is going on to next October 14th card, and we don't know what happened to Montel Jackson, but he's not fighting on this card. Then we're going to move on to Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Diana Belbita. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, 5'3", 64-inch reach, 15 wins, 7 losses, 37 years old. Diana Belbita, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 15 wins, 7 losses, 27 years old. First thing, well, Belbita's a lot bigger. So she's normally the bigger fighter in there. At 5'7", at this weight class, She's very big. She's very powerful. What's this? The 115 weight class. Um, very big, very powerful. She's 10 years younger on top of that. So normally these would be red flags where I'd want to, bet on Balbita. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, it seems like she's really kind of reinvented herself. And I don't know if it's a reinvention as much as they finally given her competition that she can beat. She was a fairly talented kind of upper mid range, upper mid, not lower mid fighter, and then she got put in with the absolute top of the division where she's continuously losing against. Some fights were close, some fights were not close. And now she's 37 years old. She's at the tail end of her career, and she's had a 3-fight win streak. It almost seems like the UFC is looking at it going, man, we've put this girl through 5-6 fights of hell with the top contenders. Maybe we should just give her a contract and have her fight out the tail end of her career against lower level competition, because she's not going to be champ. She's 37 years old. She's slower than she was before. She is slowing down, but I don't know if she's slowed down enough to not beat the bottom end of the division where Diana Belbita is. In the last fight, I bet against Diana Belbita against Oliveira. I was really disappointed in how badly Oliveira did. I thought, it just seemed like she wasn't really into this fight. She just kind of jumped in there. She wasn't serious. And Diana Belbita, there was nothing really impressive about her. She's big. She has that peekaboo defense. She has her chin tucked in, and all you see is her forehead. And she moves forward and throws 1-2s. And she's big and she's strong. And she's not fast. This is going to be a close fight just because of Karolina's being undersized compared to Belbita and 10 years older. But just a skill level, Karolina's got way more skill than Belbita, even at 37 years old. I think she can beat a 27-year-old Belbita. So Karolina's going to be the pick. I don't think they're going to really give her very much better competition than this, and she's going to be entertaining to watch for the next year, maybe 2, and she's going to retire. But Diana Belbita, she doesn't look like she's a big talent. So I think, it's more. She's got some talent, but her Instagram and whatever is probably more popular than her as a fighter, because she's a good-looking girl. It's easy to market her, but as far as fighting goes, I don't think she's really talented. She's big, she's slow. Karolina should win this. It's actually going to be close. It's not going to be some blowout. At 37 years old, Karolina slowed down as well, but I think she's got the tools to win the decision here. That is the end for the prelims. Let's move to the main card. All right, Alexander Hernandez versus Bill Algeo. Alexander Hernandez, which was our post? Alexander Hernandez, 5'9", 72-inch reach, 17 wins, 7 losses, 30 years old. Bill Algeo, 6 feet tall, 73-inch reach, 14 wins, 6 losses, 34 years old. Alexander Hernandez, he's fighting at 145. Here's the thing. I remember the first fight from Alexander Hernandez, and I can't remember who he fought though. I'll never forget his first fight. And once I saw him fight his first fight, he actually did pretty good in that one. He did well in fights after that as well. But I never respected him from his first day in the UFC. And I'll never forget it. He came out, and the guy went to shake his hand, and he did a flying kick. So they had agreed they were going to shake hands, and when Hernandez came at him, he tried to punch him or kick him. I can't remember. And the guy was, and there, everybody in the commentators like, oh, what's going on? He goes, the guy was going out to shake your hand, and it looked like he was coming out to shake his hand, and he tried to sucker punch him. Never liked him after that. No respect. But he's grown on me. It seems like he grew up, and he's a little bit better of a human being, because it was just such a low thing to do. Anyway, so He's moved up to 155, and he seems like he did pretty good last time he was at 155, and he did pretty good against Miller. And Miller's, still fairly relevant. I mean, if you're not good, you're not going to beat Miller. He did beat Miller, even though he was almost submitted in the third round. Miller didn't have the angle, but he tried to fight back in the fight. Hernandez looked pretty good. It seemed like he fixed his cardio issue, but it seems like when he goes to 145, he's got a little bit of a cardio issue. Now, he might have fixed that. I mean, that last fight looked pretty good. But nevertheless, Hernandez is a bully. He's a good hammer, not a good nail. And it seems like if he can't come out and bully you, he just fades. He's easily broken. And I don't think the cardio helps. I think it's a combination of mental cardio and him being a bully. So, you stand up to him, you push him into the second and third round, and he's going to break. Last fight, he did look better, but now he's back at 145, and he's fighting Bill Algeo, who's going to be taller. He's going to have a bigger reach advantage. He is 34 years old, so he's a little older, but still, I don't think not too old. Bill Algeo doesn't necessarily push the pace, but he's got a lot of cardio. If you try to take him to the ground, he's got good sweeps. He's got just a great ground game. He's got good submissions, and he just, again, he's got great cardio, and Hernandez doesn't have great cardio. I think Hernandez can take Bill Algeo down. I think Hernandez might be the better wrestler. I think Bill Algeo got better jiu-jitsu, and I think Hernandez taking Algeo to the ground might actually work against him because he's going to get tired faster. And come the second and third round, I think, Bill Algeo will be able to pull this off. So it's gonna be a razor thin, split decision kind of fight, but. Well, I guess you don't know because we don't know which Alex Hernandez is going to show up. If the best version of Alex Hernandez comes, it's going to be a razor-thin split decision fight where Algeo wins. If the standard let down Alex Hernandez comes, he's going to be taken out in the second round by Algeo. He's going to be choked out. So those are the picks. But low confidence just because we don't know which Hernandez is going to come out. Bill Algeo has a lot of cardio, but he doesn't have a lot of pressure. I think Carantillo beat Hernandez, but it was a lot of pressure. I don't think Bill Algeo fights with a lot of pressure, even though he's got some good cardio. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close fight. Algeo is going to be the pick. Next fight, Felipe Lins versus Ion Cutelaba. Felipe Lins, 6'2", 78-inch reach, 17 wins, 5 losses, 38 years old. Ion Cutelaba, 6'1", 75-inch reach, 17 wins, 9 losses, 1 draw, 29 years old. 11 years age difference. Normally, you don't want to see or be betting on somebody that's 38. That's the tail end of their career. Ion Cutelaba is very young. It seems like he's been in the UFC for like the last 8 years or something like that. So he's grown up in here. I find that Cutelaba is a little chinny. I think, again, he's a bullying type of fighter. He's a better hammer than he is a nail. He seems to gas, and I don't know if that's just the type of fight he wants, or because he thinks he can take you out right away and he'll just lay it all out there. He has a harder time with taller fighters with better reaches. So he always has a problem with that. Felipe Lins, everybody keeps saying he's chinny. I don't know, ever since he's come down to this light heavyweight, he doesn't seem chinny. He seems in phenomenal shape, way better than he was at heavyweight. So I don't know what he did. I don't know how his chin got a little stronger. Physically, he looks great at 205, and he's a big 205er. So I think that's going to be the difference here. I think Felipe Lins is going to be too big. He's going to be too strong. He's got a good ground game. Cutelaba needs to take you to the ground and win the fight. He beat Bozer last time. I bet on Bozer. And Bozer, I don't know why Bozer, his version of defense is, moving, showing his side of his face and trying to, dodge punches. And then Cutelaba hit him really good. And to his credit, Bozer didn't, fell down. And he wasn't knocked out, and he was just getting back up. He was taking a lot of small, short shots, but he had taken too many, and the ref called the fight. But really, Bozer wasn't out. If he'd given him a few more seconds, I have a feeling he would have been able to tie up one of his hands and possibly survive. But nevertheless, Ion Cutelaba won that fight. I don't see him doing it here. I mean, Linz is a decent underdog. I don't know why. I think Linz is going to do pretty good against him. Yeah, I mean, he's at plus 125, plus 135. And I think Felipe Wins can, weather the storm in the first round. He's got a good reach advantage. He's got decent power. He's got a good cage push and against the cage. He's got a good ground game. I think he's got pretty good takedown defense. I can't see Linz losing this against Cutelaba. So he's going to be the pick. We'll see what happens. But nevertheless, moving on. Drew Dober versus Ricky Glenn. Drew Dober, 5'8", 70-inch reach, 26 wins, 12 losses, 34 years old. Ricky Glenn, 6 feet tall, 70.5-inch reach, 22 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, 34 years old. Age is the same. They're about the same point in their career. They've taken a lot of punishment in their career. It seems like Drew Dober, for the first time ever, got KO'd 6 months ago. Funny thing is, Ricky Glenn, 6 months ago, got KO'd for the first time. So both these guys are coming off bad KOs 6 months ago. Both of them 34 years old. There's a huge height advantage for Ricky Glenn. If you can keep him at distance, it's going to be hard. So the problem with this fight is this. What are they going to look like now at 34 years old, coming off bad knockouts for both of them? And that is the $50 million question. is Drew Dober with his crimson chin going to be the same Drew Dober? Because a big part of his game plan, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back harder, and I'm not going to get knocked out. Where is he with his chin after getting KO'd like that? I mean, you've never seen him get KO'd that bad, and all of a sudden he got KO'd really bad. Ricky Glenn, same thing. Never seen him get KO'd. He looked really rough in the last fight against Giagos. He looked kind of worn out and old, and he got knocked out cold. So now, Ricky Glenn, he's a pretty good wrestler. Drew Dober's got pretty good takedown defense, but he can get taken down. Ricky Glenn, long, lanky, very tricky on the ground. Some decent submissions. Whose chin is worse? Because both of them were very durable. Drew Dober especially. And I think this is where that minus 400, what is it now? Minus 430 for Drew Dober coming in. Ricky Glenn, I had picked him in the last fight. He got KO'd. And I'm kind of, he's got the same attributes now as he did against Giagos. Only Drew Dober is way better than Giagos. So Drew Dober can still knock this guy out. But if Drew Dober gets hit, how does Drew Dober look now? Is he going to be almost the same? Is he going to be 90%? Is he going to not be Drew Dober that we know? So Drew Dober is going to be the pick. Realistically, he is more powerful, more durable, but there's a lot of questions here. I made a note on the board. He's probably my most highest confidence pick. Realistically, from what we saw Ricky Glenn look like last time, Drew Dober should come in and knock this guy out. And it almost seems like the UFC wants Drew Dober to come in and knock this guy out. But you might not get everything you want. And this smells like a parlay buster to me. So he's my most confident pick. And at the same time, I smell a parlay buster. And it's one of those things, the most confident guy, you just don't know something's going to happen and is going to smash all the parlays. He is my most confident pick. I think Drew Dober should be able to beat Ricky Glenn and knock him out cold. Having said that, we don't know what Drew Dober is his chin, what it's going to be like. And Ricky Glenn is pretty good on the ground. He fought Grant Dawson just a couple of years ago, and he almost finished Grant Dawson in the third round and got a 10-8 and got a draw in that fight. And Grant Dawson, another 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds, 5 seconds, Grant Dawson would have been out from guillotine choke. He almost, when he got let go, he almost looked like he was out. There was a little bit of banter back and forth about, is he out, is he not out? So yeah, I mean, if Ricky Glenn could submit Grant Dawson in the third round or almost, he could submit Drew Dober. Drew Dober is going to be the pick, high confidence. But if I saw this fight going a certain way, it's Ricky Glenn catching Drew Dober and Drew Dober's chin not holding up, and Ricky Glenn going to the ground and choking him out. That would be the parlay buster. So, but Drew Dober should be the winner here. I mean, yeah, very hesitant on this one. Nevertheless, yeah, maybe not when you see the board, maybe not bet it at minus 430. I mean, what's the point? There's no real return on it anyways. Maybe just avoid it. Alex Morono versus Jaquim Buckley. Alex Morono, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 23 wins, 8 losses, 33 years old. Jaquim Buckley, 5'10", 76-inch reach, 16 wins, 6 losses, 29 years old. They're not too old. Morono is actually coming into his own right about now. I think he's looking really good. I was always questioning his chin, and he looked a little chinny, and he looked a little awkward. But you know what? He's got a pretty good style. And Joaquin Buckley's moving down to welterweight. He's trying to make a name for himself in this division. He was probably undersized for the middleweights. He made a good account of himself. He's 29 years old. Here's the thing. Joaquin Buckley, physical specimen, very explosive, very physically strong, very much an athlete type. So he goes in, he goes out. He stays on the outside, throws kicks, goes out, stays on the outside, explodes in, throws some heavy punches. He's got some power. He has been knocked out, but he's got a pretty good chin. He's been fighting against much bigger guys, so it's going to be hard to knock him out because he's been used to a lot more power. And he is the favorite in this. And Alex Morono, you know what? Every time I watch him fight, the more I appreciate the subtleties of Alex Morono. He's got a good ground game. He doesn't want to take people to the ground. He'd rather fight. He's got if he's got a full training camp, he can fight a full 3 rounds without getting tired. He's always on his toes. He's bouncing in and out. And this is where I think Joaquin Buckley's going to have a problem with him, because Buckley is usually used to having guys take the center and him kind of dancing around the people and kind of going in and out. And Morono's always moving. So he's going to be harder to time. I think Joaquin Buckley's more explosive, but I think Alex Morono's got faster hands. If you've ever seen him up close, like, he'll just catch people mid-punch or mid-action. So he's got very fast hands. He might not have that explosiveness, but he's got very fast hands. He fought Ponzinibbio. He was beating Ponzinibbio, knocked Ponzinibbio down, and it was a short notice fight, and just almost end of the 3rd round, he got caught and knocked out. That could happen. I mean, Morono has been knocked out. Buckley's been knocked out. I see Morono winning this fight. I just having a hard time. He's got high volume. This fight could go to a decision. If it does go to a decision, I'm going to go with the guy with the high volume. Buckley's going to be in and out trying to catch him. If Buckley doesn't knock out Morono, I think Morono wins the decision. Morono couldn't catch Buckley, in some crazy explosive motion. Morono with his fast hands can catch Buckley too. So nevertheless, going to the ground, Buckley can take him to the ground. Morono is very dangerous on the ground. This is a very interesting fight. I'm going to lean Alex Morono. It's going to be a great fight, actually. It's probably one of the best fights on the card. Really looking forward to seeing that fight. Morono's going to be the pick, I bet against Morono and I bet for Morono, and I got to admit though, I'm kind of liking the way he's evolving. He's the best version of Morono right now. So Joaquin Buckley, it's hard to tell. Joaquin Buckley's got some sensational wins and some sensational losses. He seems to be always in the fight. But Morono, I don't know. I'm going to go with him. Apart from a knockout, Morono's going to win this, according to me. So, next fight, co-main event: Joe Pyfer versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Joe Pfeiffer, 6'2", 75-inch reach, 11 wins, 2 losses, 27 years old. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, 5'10", 73-inch reach, 12 wins, 5 losses, 38 years old. Okay, Abdul Razak Hassan, 11 years older. He's a lot shorter. I mean, sure, he's a lot shorter by 4 inches. He's got his reach is less. He's 11 years older. Everything's working in Joe Pfeiffer's face in favor. To me, this is almost a gimme fight for Pfeiffer. They want to move him up as a contender. And when I first saw this fight, I thought, Joe Pfeiffer for sure. For sure, this is Joe Pfeiffer. And then I started looking at, okay, why? I mean, I didn't even bet on Joe Pfeiffer the last fight he fought against, Mearshart. And I was so disappointed at Mearshart, you know. But I was so impressed with Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer just beat him down to the point where Mearshart just quit. I mean, I'm thinking, man, this guy has got some power in his hands. And he ruined my parlay. But I didn't see that in him. And I don't know if it's Mearshart pulling a Mearshart where he looks fantastic one day and absolutely terrible the next day, or if Pfeiffer's that powerful. And I know he's got some power. Don't get me wrong. Just that, you know, this is Mearshart who beat, what's his name? The Brazilian, can't remember his name. Anyways, he knocked him out, and the guy survived against Pereira to a decision, and he gets knocked out by Mearshart, and Pfeiffer pummels Mearshart. So there's that recency bias. And Abdul Razak Al Hassan, I've never really been impressed with him. He's kind of slow, he's kind of thick, he's kind of big. Looking at his last fight, I mean, he had that one punch knockout power against a really highly touted prospect, and he won that fight. So I think this is a fight that, 38 years old, he's at the tail end of his career. The UFC would love for Pfeiffer. I mean, he's got co-main event, okay? They want Pfeiffer up there. So realistically, this is Pfeiffer's fight because the UFC thinks he could beat Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Now, and when I picked it, he was one of my 3 most confident picks. And here I went back to the parlay buster thing. The more I looked at that fight with Abdul Razak Al Hassan knocking out that Brazilian guy, Ribeiro, and I thought, you know what? This could play out almost exactly the same way. Well, Al Hassan could knock Pfeiffer out. I mean, that's his only path to victory, is knocking Pfeiffer out. And who has Pfeiffer really fought? I mean, recency bias, looking at Mearshart and how badly he beat him, okay. But before that, there's nobody. So for him to be a minus 440, I mean, I wouldn't even touch this at all because it's got Parlay Buster Part 2 written all over it, with Al Hassan coming out swinging a big punch and knocking this guy out. It shouldn't happen that way. And realistically, the way Pfeiffer looked, it shouldn't happen that way. But there really isn't a huge track record of Pfeiffer, you know. And he's got a cool nickname, Body Bags. He should win this fight, but he does take punches, and he has been hit. And when he comes in swinging, he's got his head up and not covered up. And Al Hassan with one big overhand could change everything. Pfeiffer's going to be the pick. Okay, he should win this. He's young, he's strong, he's big, he's good on the ground. I mean, the UFC really likes this guy, probably for the right reasons. But man, you know, there's one chance, and that's Al Hassan knocking him out, which is only one chance. That's the only way he wins this fight. At the odds they are, I mean, my pick's going to be Pfeiffer. I would not bet this fight. I'd be very scared to bet this fight and put it in the parlay because it's, you know, like I said with the Drew Dober Ricky Glenn fight, the parlay busters. I mean, this is Parlay Buster Part 2 for me. I mean, there's too many red flags going off to put these guys at such a minus, 440 each. I think minus 430, minus 440. Just don't do it. But he's going to be the pick. I mean, he should win this fight. They got him as a co-main event. But Al Hassan has that shot. He's got that. He's got a shot at this. I mean, if you're going to put any money, put it on the knockout in the first round for Al Hassan. Probably the payout's huge. I haven't checked, but I mean, he's plus what 340 just to win. So, oh, this is gonna be entertaining. Too bad. I mean, too bad I have parlays of it. I would enjoy it more if I didn't bet on it. But this one, I've actually got Pfeiffer in a parlay, and I actually got Abdul as a backup on another one. It's just because it's like, man, this kid can actually pull this off. I mean, not huge, but just a small one. Just to cover a few things here. Nevertheless, moving on to the main event. We are at Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. Grant Dawson, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 20 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 29 years old. Bobby Green, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 30 wins, 14 losses, 1 draw, 37 years old. Okay, obviously 80 years older. Bobby Green at the tail end of his career. He still looks good. I don't know if he looks worse, but he definitely doesn't look better or improving. I think he's slightly slowing down. Here's the thing. Grant Dawson, I mean, apart from the last fight he had against Ismagulov, I was betting against, well, I bet Ismagulov, thinking that Ismagulov had a good enough takedown defense to stop Grant Dawson's takedown, because Ismagulov's got great takedown defense. Now, Grant Dawson looked phenomenal, and he looked unbelievably powerful. When he got his hands on Ismagulov, he pretty much took Ismagulov down. And I was really impressed that Ismagulov could not get back up. So that's a credit to Grant Dawson and how much he's improved his ground game, his control, and also, man, his takedown defense. The moment he gets a hold of you, it just seems like he's going to take you down. He seems very powerful, very deceivingly powerful. So with Ismagulov fight, Ismagulov couldn't stop the takedowns, which was surprising. But people have said, there's a lot of medical conditions he had gone through, that he might not be the Ismagulov that we once knew, where he had that phenomenal hips, phenomenal takedown defense. Now, it's either Grant Dawson is phenomenal, or Ismagulov's wasn't quite as good as he used to be. That's up in the air. Now, Grant Dawson fought Ricky Glenn, and Ricky Glenn 10-8'd Grant Dawson. Now, is Grant Dawson the same Grant Dawson, or is a much better version of it? Grant Dawson had taken Ricky Glenn down. Ricky Glenn had great takedown defense. He's a pretty good wrestler. And he basically tired out Dawson. So Dawson, in the third round, was not the same Dawson as the first 2 rounds, and Ricky Glenn almost submitted him. If you watch the Ismagulov fight, in the last 20 seconds of that fight, in the third round, Ismagulov finally was able to reverse the position and be on top of Dawson. I don't think Dawson let him be on top of it. I think Dawson was getting tired. Going to Bobby Green now. Bobby Green, he's a good wrestler. He can wrestle. He's got great takedown defense. The only wrestler who's been able to dominate him is Islam Makhachev, who is the best wrestler. But he's got more than that. He's not only a wrestler, he's got pretty good striking. So he struck with Bobby Green and then went for the takedown. So Bobby Green had to worry about a couple of things. Grant Dawson, I don't think you have to really worry about his striking, even though it has improved. Grant Dawson should be the pick here. And one thing about the main events, ever since the last main event, which messed up my 12-fight parlay, which was with Adesanya, what I do now is I pick a parlay, and I'll pick a duplicate parlay with both people in the main event. And actually, since I've started doing that, it saved me in the last one where Fiziev lost through an injury. So I'm doing that anyways. So nevertheless, for me, this fight, the main events, I pick both ways. I don't care how stacked the odds are. But having said that, Bobby Green fights with his hands down. He doesn't have his hands up. Normally, it's terrifying. he fought Drew Dober and he got knocked out cold after winning first 2 rounds. I can't remember if we got knocked on the second or third round. He was winning all the rounds. He was tagging Drew Dober. He was hurting Drew Dober. But he just relied on his movement and his hands down, and then he got caught and knocked out cold. Normally, that's a concern. With Grant Dawson, this is actually a benefit because he's got his hands down. He's got his hands down to tough takedowns. So he's going to have pretty good takedown defense. We'll see how good Grant Dawson is. Is Grant Dawson Makhachev level of takedowns? Because he was the only one to be able to take Bobby Green down and take him out and control him. We're going to find out. But Bobby Green's a live dog here. And like I said, I picked it both ways. I'm kind of comfortable with it. Grant Dawson should be the victor. He's my second most high confident pick. Like, he should win, especially after that fight against Ismagulov. But again, question remains: was Ismagulov at the top of his game? Bobby Green's got pretty good wrestling. He doesn't have knockout power, but what happens in the third round, in the fourth round, and the fifth round? How tired is Grant Dawson going to be? Is he still going to be able to take him down? This is going to be a great fight to watch. Pick's going to be Dawson. Got to pick Dawson. I mean, he's the guy who's going to dictate where the fight's going to go. Bobby Green's going to be defending it. Doesn't have huge knockout power. It's going to be Dawson. Bobby Green's live. It's going to be a great fight to watch, especially the fourth and fifth round. That's going to be interesting. Let's turn this over to the board. All right. Okay. Let's see if this board. Oh man, it's the lighting. Let's see if this is gonna help. Let me know if that helps. Kind of, sort of, yeah. Sort of, kind of. All right. Nevertheless, this is what I've broken down. Now, this is not financial advice. Only bet what you can afford to lose. And you can take this from my picks. You can take some or all, run them in a parlay, run them in a partial parlay. Pick what you think is correct or what we agree on. Make your own decisions if you like. But take my analysis and use it for something else, or, wherever you need it, right? This is what I would do. And that doesn't mean really a lot. This is what just I would do. Nevertheless, where am I going with this? Here. This one here. Actually, that line should have been here. Yeah, right there. So, Dober. I put avoid Dober. At minus 430 against Ricky Glenn. Parlay Buster. Now, there's a couple fights that I could Parlay Buster on that have some red flags for me, and it's just not worth betting it at minus 430. Big red flag. I would avoid it. But Dober, realistically, he should win this fight. He should knock out this guy, probably in the first round. Having said that, Parlay Buster 101. Stranger things have happened. We'll see how Drew Dober looks as far as his chin goes. Moving on, Dawson, second highest confidence. And for me, I pick the main event both ways. So it doesn't matter to me. I will pick one parlay with Dawson in it, one parlay with Green. That's what I do ever since that Adesanya fight, and I found it worked well for me. Nevertheless, Dawson, high degree of probability is going to win. He's going to be in danger in the fourth and fifth round. He should be able to win the first 3 rounds anyway. So either way, I think decision is going to go to Dawson. Third most confident picks, Pyfer. Everything's aligning for Pyfer. These guys have set this guy up to lose to Pyfer. But I've just recently, just today, the more I looked into it, I put Parlay Buster. And this is another one of those one-punch KOs that ruins everybody's parlay. Minus 440. Just avoid these fights. If you do this one, do both. but these fights are very dangerous. Put them in your parlay. Hey, you know what? I mean, I've got a high degree of confidence that these guys are going to win. It's just not worth it for the -30, -430, -440. Just because something goes wrong, these are the best parlay busters out there. They'll smash every parlay, and anybody with a parlay in another sport that's coming in here picking the biggest favorites. Yeah, those are red flags. Nevertheless, De La Rosa, she went from +110 when I picked her to -130 today. So she went from a dog to a favorite. I really think she's going to pull this off. I don't think JJ Aldridge is going to beat her. Linz, you know, I've got him way up here. I don't see Kutalaba beating him, but then again, you know, Kutalaba beat Bozer. But I just see Linz with a path to victory here. Murata, fairly high degree of confidence. I've got her down here behind these guys just because we haven't seen her in 2.5 years. That's scary. But if it's the same girl, she should come in here and out wrestle. What's that? Vandopoulos or something, whatever her name is. What's her name again? How do you say that Greek name? It's definitely Greek. Demopoulos. She should be able to beat Demopoulos. I think the UFC set this up for her to beat the second shortest person in the division. Kowalkiewicz, you know what? She's slipping. She's old. I think the UFC is giving her the bottom end of this division to keep her around. She's, you know, I still think she's got enough talent to beat those that level of fighter. So, Algio. I mean, I like Algio. He's always entertaining. He's not over the hill. He's got great stamina. He's good on the ground. I think he's going to be able to pull this off. I think Hernandez is going to come out. He's going to be guns a-blazing in the first round. I think he's going to start to slow down in the second and third one. I mean, it's going to be some good tense moments in the first round. But I think Algio is going to be able to pull this off in the second and third. But Algio has a way of going down to these decisions and losing, which is scary, which is why he's kind of way at the bottom end of it, because he makes them closer than it has to be. So Algio is going to be the pick. Quillen, you know what? I just can't see Munoz beating this guy. I don't know why. I mean, I'm worried about the fact that he's coming back from a KO, a bad KO. But at 6 months, he's young. Hopefully he comes back. I think his best defense for the takedowns is going to be his left hand, you know. And he's got quick hands, and he can definitely end somebody's night. He's got power in those hands. And Munoz is a little bit of a quitter. So Quillen's going to be the pick. Morono, from +160, +135, some money had come in on Morono. I think he's going to have a lot of movement. I think Buckley hasn't fought anybody who moves around this much. He's going to have a little bit of a problem. He's got fast hands. When Buckley comes in, he might be able to catch him. Moving on to my least confident pick. I had switched it. It was Menes, I thought, at +205, and it was actually +220 today. I thought, oh man, you know what? This will be a great time to pick a huge underdog. But the more I look into it, man, I don't know. I just can't see it anymore. Like, I just can't see Menes doing it. He's going to be tall, barely making weight. I mean, it's hard to tell how he looked last time. And when Mendonca looked pretty good against Javid, you know, at a higher weight class. And this is probably the weight class where he should be at. It's going to be close. And I think he's going to be dictating the fight. Menes is going to be dancing around on the outside. And I think he's going to win the decision. If not, if he does catch Menes, he could knock him out. He could submit him. He could do a bunch of stuff. But I think it's going to go down to decision. Mendonca is going to win the first 2 rounds anyways. And Menes, I mean, he has caught people and knocked people out, but he's just not a knockout artist. So, and where Mendonca is very powerful. I think he can get it in the inside, and I think Menes sometimes lets people come in on the inside. He's easily hittable. Surprisingly for his height, shorter guys get in on him all the time, landing big power shots. So, Mendonca's going to be the pick. All right. Let's move this so I can actually turn the camera. There we go. You see it still? There you go. I should have left it like that. Well, Good to be back. Thank you everyone for joining me again tonight. By the way, there is buy me a coffee. If you do win some money, please let me know. Post it on the comments. If I want to see if we've done well or if I've helped you guys out. Hit like. If you want to hit subscribe, hit the subscribe button and get notifications of when the videos are coming out. Like and share if you can. Share the video. It helps me get out on the algorithm. I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm at 153 subscribers. I mean, I need to get up there. I see a lot of people looking at the video. I mean, my views are anywhere from like 180 to 300 something, but the likes on the views are like anywhere from 9 to 14. So please, if you're watching the video, hit like. All right, and if you like the content, share it. That helps huge with the algorithm. Other than that, thank you very much for joining me, and we will see you next week. I will do a recap for this, and hopefully it's good news all around. Thank you very much.